Hi, and welcome to Comedy Recapped. Today we'll be examining 1992's Miracle Beach. Beware, spoilers ahead. We start off watching as women walk down the beach. People flock to the beach by the dozens, and they set up their towels and umbrellas as some surfers ride the waves. Inside a beachside restaurant, Scotty and Mac are fantasizing about a girl in a TV commercial. But Scotty is brought back to reality when a customer asks for his fries. Scott goes to give the customer the basket of fries that he's been eating, and he walks out to get flowers for Cindy. Scott walks in on Cindy getting busy with his boss, Charlie, and he kicks them both out. Just then, his landlord comes in and tells him that he's got 30 minutes to get himself and his things out of the apartment. Scotty sits there on his bed, contemplating his life. Meanwhile, all of the fairy and holiday spirits meet up for their assignments. Eventually, Geanie Peterson is called in for her assignment, and she stumbles in to find out that her assignment is on Earth. She goes to question her new job, and she's told that her record really doesn't give her any grounds to question anything. If she fails this assignment, she's banished to her bottle forever. Back on Earth, Scotty walks down the beach with a shopping cart of his belongings, but his friends are on the beach talking about getting Scotty back in the saddle. Suddenly, a golf ball lands in the sand, and we see that they're actually in the sand trap of a golf course. That night, a dinner event is going on, and Scotty and his friends are there to crash the party. Once there, some of the girls there already know about Scotty and his reputation as a ladies' man, but some of the guys that recognize him start to piece together that he's been with their wives when he was coming over to work on their yards. Just then, Dana walks in, and Scotty loses track of everything going on around him. She makes her way inside, and Scotty follows her to the balcony. Once there, Dana makes it clear that she's not really interested in him or his high life situation. But when he mentions that he's actually broke and homeless, she's very confused about the whole situation. Eventually, her boyfriend comes out and whisks her away from the party. Scotty goes back to the bar and takes a whole bottle with him to a bench on the beach. Once there, he finishes up the bottle and talks to Gus about what he has to change to get a girl like Dana. Gus decides that this drama is stupid, and he tosses a blanket at Scott before wheeling away his shopping cart. Scotty notices that he has a new bottle in his hands, and he makes a wish before lying down. In the morning, he wakes up to find that his wish came true, and he's in bed on the beach with two bodacious women. He spots the lamp on the nightstand, and he grabs it before running away from the beach police. He heads to a local mystic who tries to help him with information on genies. After that helpful conversation, Scotty goes to a little hidden spot to try and rub a genie out of the bottle. After no result, he goes to the bathroom, and Geanie sneaks up behind him. At first, Scotty doesn't believe in her magic, but after making another wish for fresh clothes, she grants him his wish. The two of them walk on the beach, and he finds out the rules. He also takes the time to tell Geanie about what he's looking for, and Dana just happens to walk across the beach at that same time. Scotty calls out to her, but she quickly heads over to her group. Scotty quickly wishes for Dana to fall in love with him, and he walks right over to her before listening to Geanie explaining that she can't grant that wish. Scotty decides to wish to be the best volleyball player ever, so that he can show off in front of Dana. It ends up working pretty well, and Scotty talks to Geanie about how well the plan worked out. Scotty takes Geanie to his friend's garage room, and he introduces Geanie to Soup and Lars. After wishing for Soup and Lars to be able to see Geanie, they all head to the beach to wish for a new place to live. Geanie gives them a huge club to live in, and they go to explore. Eventually, Soup and Lars come up with a whole list of greedy things they want Geanie to give them, but Scotty asks for $10,000 in cash. Geanie tries to warn him about the greed that is involved with money, but she doesn't see that he wants to go down to give it to Gus instead. Gus actually doesn't want the money, and he wants a job instead. As a way to repay Gus for helping him the night before, he gives him a place to live and a job. When Soup and Lars talk about throwing a party that night, Scotty has Geanie make it so the girls that are arriving for the International Women's Pageant actually have their swimsuit competition at his house. Gus goes to invite and pick up Dana for the party, and Scotty greets them as soon as they arrive. At one point, Scotty goes to thank Geanie for taking good care of him and his dreams. She tells him that she loves granting dreams to someone that has such romantic dreams, but as the night goes on, she starts to notice breaks in Dana's character as she delves deeper into Scotty's illusion. Just as Dana and Scotty get ready to get it on, Geanie shows up and questions if this is what Scotty really wants. At first, Scotty thought he wanted to take things slow, but now that he's in the middle of everything, he's not so sure he wants any more than Dana in his bed right now. Geanie goes and waits with Gus at the bar, and Gus checks in on her. She tries to tell him that she's just fine and only cares about what Scotty wants, and he tells her he's there if she needs him. In the morning, Geanie and Scotty walk on the beach, and Scotty tells her that nothing actually happened. He tells Geanie that he's going to need a whole new image if he's going to get Dana to love him. Geanie doesn't think that's the best way to go about things, and Scotty decides to go out with Geanie to start learning more about art, fine dining, and dancing. By the end of the night, the two of them get closer to one another, but Scotty still goes on to go on his date with Dana, who is impressed by how much he actually knows about the high life. The two of them make out on the beach, and Geanie pesters Scotty about taking it slow. Dana isn't sure why he's keeping things from progressing, but he sticks to his guns. On the ride home, Geanie tells Scotty that he's a very special guy, and they sit to eat popcorn at home while Soup and Lars play strip bingo in another part of the house. Scotty tells Geanie that she's more than just a genie to him, and they exchange gifts. He leans in to kiss Geanie, but he goes for her forehead and heads to bed. The next day, Scotty and Geanie visit Dana on the set of the new movie she's working on, but Geanie goes into her trailer to spy on her seducing the producer. After that, Dana comes out and thanks Scotty for introducing her to the producer, but he's worried that she wants him instead. Dana uses her charm to convince him otherwise, but Geanie knows better. Later on, Scotty talks to Geanie about his plans for his night with Dana, and he asks her to make him the best sensual masseuse in the world. She tells him that he'll still have to practice though, and she has him practice on her. His massage works so well that he even catches himself slipping with Geanie, and he nervously leaves to get ready for Dana. When he heads to the car to leave, Geanie asks him where they're going that night, and he tells her that he wants to do this date solo. So Geanie heads back upstairs and eats her feelings away while Scotty is at Dana's house, massaging her shoulders. When they finally get to getting it on, Geanie shows up outside and starts changing Dana into a bunch of other people that ruin the mood for Scotty. In the end, Scotty calls the night off, and Geanie goes back to her bottle, where her boss shows up to warn her to not interfere with her master's wishes anymore. She admits that she loves Scotty and doesn't want anything bad for him, but that only matters in the rulebook if Scotty actually loves her back. The next day, the international swimsuit competition gets ready to start, and Soup and Lars take care of the girls while they get ready. Scotty walks under the boardwalk with Geanie, and she asks when he'll see Dana again. He says that Dana was supposed to be with her sister, but they spot her on the beach with another guy. Geanie tries to convince him to look for another love, but Scotty thinks that he has to make Dana jealous. Geanie decides to play his fake girlfriend, and Scotty heads over to make Dana jealous. It works a little too well, and Dana pulls Scotty aside to tell him that he wins. She swears that she won't see the other guy anymore, and the two of them leave Geanie to go watch the swimsuit competition. During which, Dana hops up to join, but so does Geanie. Both of them actually become finalists, and the winner ends up being Geanie. Scotty pulls her away, and he asks her what that was all about. He doesn't understand why she can't just help him get Dana, but she admits that she knows that Dana's not the kind of girl to settle down. He tells her that tonight is a special night, and he doesn't want her messing it up with her wishes anymore. When he leaves, Geanie sits down to find her boss waiting for her on the couch. He tells her that her banishment will start at midnight, and Scotty will have a new Geanie. While Geanie packs up her bottle, Soup and Lars take it with them to the beach, and Scotty waits for Dana to get back to the room. He looks at a picture that used to have Geanie in it, and he notices that she's not there anymore. Dana comes back in and throws the picture down so they can start getting it on. She tells him that all of his wishes will come true tonight, but he can't help but think back to all of the time with Geanie. Scotty goes down to the bar to ask Gus where Geanie is, and he tells Scotty the bad news. Scotty quickly rushes outside to grab the bottle from Soup and Lars, but they just want the new Geanie so they can get their wishes granted again. Scotty runs to the Mystic shop where the guys catch up with him, but Gus shows up and pulls Soup and Lars off of him. The Mystic warns Scotty that proclaiming his love to Geanie will make her lose her powers and take away the wishes they already got, but he doesn't care. He proclaims his love, and Geanie appears in human form and kisses him. Back on the beach, the whole club disappears, and Dana is arrested for fooling around on the beach with the producer. It turns out that Gus reported them. After the police leave, We see that Gus is actually Genie's boss in disguise, and he smiles as Scotty and Geanie walk the beach in each other's arms. This is about as feel-good as a feel-good movie can get, but it has such charm that it becomes its own film in the genre of romantic comedy. And that wraps up this recap. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this recap, please subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss a single video.